Welcome to Freedom Cast, where your hosts, Jordan and Miranda, show you how to get just a little bit more out of life. Are you ready to leave normal behind?
Welcome, Freedom Casters. We are here today to talk about side hustles. And you may be wondering, what is a side hustle? Why should I have a side hustle? What are some ideas for side hustles?
Why do I care about side hustles?
And I'm here to tell you that we're going to answer all of those questions.
I'm here too.
Oh yeah, I guess, it's not just me today. Jordan's here. He's tagging along like usual.
Tagging along like a tag-along little puppy.
So, the term side hustle...
Actually, I'm bouncing because I'm on an exercise ball, so hopefully you can't hear that.
You can probably hear your voice going up and down.
Oh, yeah.
As you get closer and further away from the mic.
That's all right. That's all right.
So, Jordan, can you start us out by telling us a little bit about what a side hustle is? Because you, out of the two of us, were the one that discovered your side hustle and discovered this whole realm of thinking way before I did. And it's nothing really that new.
No.
But it's a catchy term, so
Yeah,
break it down for us a little bit.
So what's a side hustle? Well, I'm going to tell you that. Really, I would describe it as just a thing you do on the side. So maybe on your evenings or weekends or potentially days off as a way to get yourself additional income. Now, a side hustle is not a hobby. That's the big differentiating factor in how you define what a side hustle is. Now, a hobby is maybe playing tennis or building, building boats.
Model boats.
Yep. Or, joining your pickup stick club and playing that weekly. I haven't done that yet, but
carving wooden ducks.
I'm sure there are people out there that carve wooden ducks. Now, if you carve wooden ducks and sell them...
Oh, no. I would keep them all for myself.
But listen, I'm going to describe a side hustle here.
Okay.
If you make wooden ducks as a hobby, that's fine. But if you actually go ahead and sell those wooden ducks, that is now a side hustle. And that is the big difference. So side hustle is all about generating income on the side in addition to whatever your regular full-time job is. So, for example, for me, my full-time job right now is, well, for the most, I have a lot of different hats. But I help people with book launches. That is kind of my number one thing. So I still have side hustles as far as making courses on Udemy. My writing is still a side hustle now. I'm trying to get my side hustle writing into more of like my mainstream kind of full-time income. Mm-hmm. And I'm working toward that, but that is really what the definition of a side hustle is. It's something you are working towards. Maybe you eventually want your side hustle to take over your full-time gig, and that's part of it too.
I would like my side hustle to become my front hustle eventually.
Okay.
I was just trying to make a joke.
I liked it.
Funny.
What would you like your front hustle to be?
Yeah, how
doesn't sound as good as side hustle.
What's the percentage of if it's bringing in like 25% of income? Is that still a side hustle, or is that just a job at that point?
It's technically a side hustle until it's 51% of your income.
Technically,
I just made that up.
You made that up?
Yeah, but you asked me to define it hardcore, so I just defined it.
I was trying to trip you up.
If your side hustle makes more than 51% of your income, well, there you go. It's now your full-time. Well, now it's your biggest income source.
Yeah.
You can have multiple side hustles, and then you have to do the math on that. But we don't need to go that far down the rabbit trail. No. It's a good question, though.
Not yet, but yes. So this is something.
How would you define it, Miranda?
Oh, exactly the same way.
Oh, wow, okay.
The neat thing about side hustles is, in Jordan's case, everything he does as a side hustle is online, and you can do it remotely from anywhere, which is really, really cool.
Yep.
But
I highly recommend that because you get a lot of freedom from, you can gain location independence if you find online side hustles.
But if you're not good using computers or you're scared of the internet, whatever, you can also do
Miranda. You're not as scared of the internet as you used to be. You were the anti-side hustle. You're like, why would we do a side hustle? I have a job.
Yes. So the cool thing about side hustles is it doesn't have to be online. It doesn't have to be techie. You can also do things that
Like carve wooden ducks.
Yeah, exactly. Physical things, or you can walk dogs, or you can babysit. Stuff like that is also considered a side hustle.
Driving for Uber or driving for Lyft, a lot of people consider that a side hustle.
Yes,
that's something people are more familiar with too.
Those are great examples. So it's just something that's just bringing in a little extra income. And the nice thing is, worst case scenario, you lose your job, at least you have something coming in. You're not completely down to zero. And we're both really big on the whole diversifying your income. So we like to have, right now we have 20 different income sources.
Yeah, they're all very, yeah.
And
they all have different levels, but some are not very much at all. But yeah, the idea of like at least starting those things and growing them. And now you can make the argument that you should focus on like one or two maybe, and I can definitely wouldn't disagree with that. Now we're kind of all over the place because we're kind of, the whole method of throwing darts at a wall and seeing what sticks. We're kind of doing that somewhat, and then we're trying to, if it gets a little sticky, okay, boom, we're focusing our resources and our attention on that.
Yeah, so we have a lot, and I would say it probably is better to be a little more focused than we are, but we like to do a bunch of different things, so it's what works for your personality, what you have the time for. It all really just depends on your situation, but it is very good to be able to have different sources of income because I'm pretty sure we talked about the book The Gig Economy on here before.
I think we've talked about it on here.
But that's a really good book if you're interested in kind of seeing just the future of where jobs are going and how things are changing. It's not just, people don't go into a job right out of college and stay there for 30 years anymore. People bounce around. There's not a lot of stability with jobs. You could have a job that you stick with even though you don't like it, and you can still lose that job, even if it's not something you love, but you just stuck with it because you thought it was stable. So that's why it's so important to do this nowadays, because everything's in flux, everything's moving at the speed of light. So you have to be ready and able to change at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I think the whole diversifying, we'll go back to that for a second, because that's exactly what you were just talking about at the end there. It's super important to be not just diversifying your income, but then diversifying and kind of maximizing your reach for your skills as well. If you're someone that has a lot of highly valued skills, then you're probably not someone who's going to have to look for a job, even if you are laid off. You have to look for a job, but the task won't be as difficult if you're down in a very niche kind of sector, or you're in a very niche kind of type of job, and then all of a sudden you're let off from that job. And then maybe there are no other jobs like that around you. So I think it's important to think about that as far as setting yourself up for success. Because I think we have to think about the fact that, unfortunately, most companies out there, I would say most, maybe not, and definitely not all, but most companies don't really care about you as an individual. They care about what you're giving to them. And if you become no longer valuable to them, unfortunately, they're probably going to let you go. And I think I don't like talking about that stuff because it's a negative thing. It feels like but it really is like a sad reality. It's the reality that we live in, that like when we're working a job, it's our skills that are the most valuable thing. It's not really about us. I think Miranda had more to say on that.
No, I just agree with you. It is, we never want to sound negative or like conspiracy theorist or anything. But
yeah, it's just changing. It
is just kind of how jobs are, because everyone's constantly bouncing around from job to job. I think that has a lot to do with it as well. It's just not the same formula that it was before. People get out of college and you think that means, okay, I have a degree, I should be able to get a job in my field. That's not the case. You can go 4 years to a college, get a whole bunch of debt like us, and then, be like, well, shoot, I don't even want to do this. So that's why side hustles were so big on because it's just a great way to even just delve into something that you might be interested in. You might say, hey, I love dogs. I'm going to try dog walking. Start it as a side hustle, and then you'll see if you really like it or not, and then you can just grow it from there. It's also a low risk way to try out different passions and interests you have and see, what works, what do you actually really enjoy doing. It's a great way to experiment than to go, work at a company for 2 years and then go through that whole, searching for a job, find a different job. It's still not the right fit, trying again. This is just a great way, like I said, low risk, just to kind of dip your toe in the water and see, hey, is this something I could actually do and be good at and enjoy?
Yeah, and to make it a side hustle, you don't have to be an expert in it. You don't have to be at a super high level. I think a lot of times we can start doing something, you may have never done yoga before. Well, you could do yoga next week. And then all of a sudden, 3 months from now, you say, wow, I really love yoga. Like, I'm going to start working on that on the side. I'm going to make teaching yoga my side hustle, and you do YouTube videos or whatever. And of course, that's a very competitive niche. So that's something to think about too. But at the same time, you don't have to be an expert in it right off the bat to be able to share knowledge. And I think that's one of those myths that I've always struggled with. I'm slowly realizing that more and more. On a podcast recently, we had Stevie Stork on, and she said, she brought up the fact that most people don't know what they're doing when they start a job. And that was just so key to me. It stuck with me ever since she said that, just because it's something I've been thinking about. It relates to side hustles and other projects as well. We don't have to be experts right off the bat to provide value to other people. We have a certain way of doing things. We have a certain way of looking at things that is different from other people's. And we have extra value to bring. Maybe you do yoga, but you say, I want to do, and just think of the people that first did they did water yoga or yoga on the, what are they called?
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna jump in and say.
Shoot,
that.
Go ahead. Because if we're transitioning, let's do it.
Because, yeah, if you're just going into just teaching yoga, that's very broad, and that's a lot of people do that. But, someone from our life group actually said last week that she does with her kids. They do yoga online. It's YouTube videos, but they do it for children, and they tell a story while they do the yoga.
Cool. I've never heard of that.
And that's somebody that just thought, hey, yoga is awesome, but let's make it so kids can learn yoga and have them engaged. So let's add a story to it. So you can, couple different things that you love together and come up with a great, combination of stuff that, be you and be creative and what interests you. And I'm sure you'll find other people out there that are interested in that as well. So you don't have to just do normal yoga, get creative, do something, mix it in with something else.
Yeah, I think being creative with it is so important because you can get to the next level. I've always tried to think about that, or I've been trying to think about that recently with book launches and stuff, and helping clients out with whatever they need help with, and not just doing what other people say to do for advice, but thinking outside the box too. Like, how else can I help them? How else can I help this person in their unique situation? And you can think about that with any kind of side hustle. How can you add value to people? That's always the question that I think Pat Flynn always talks about the most in his podcast, Smart Passive Income. Probably some of you have heard of Pat Flynn. Great guy, really cool podcast on passive income. But he always talks about the fact that, our first directive, the prime directive, if you will, should be to add value to people. So what does that mean in your space? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that in a unique way? And it could just be you. You are the unique person. You could do yoga and you could add just a thing to it. It doesn't need to be a creative thing. Or a creative approach to it, but it can be. And if it is, then you're going to be better off for it.
Yeah, that's very true. So definitely, if you're kind of getting started and you're thinking, okay, side hustle sounds good, but, how do I start a side hustle? Like, how do I decide? What's that first action step is the most critical point. And what would you suggest for people who want to do a side hustle, but they don't even know where to begin? They have the objections of, I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I don't have any money up front to start something. I don't have any support from my family, or I I would rather nap. That would be my main objection.
Yeah, you can't nap as a side hustle. But first of all, I think anyone can do a side hustle no matter what their situation is, because there's so many different options. And like Miranda said, if you're being creative, with it, you definitely can find something that you need that you can do. Secondly, what was your first question?
Well, just how do you get started? How do you even decide?
How do you get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I was sorry. That's what I was going to say. Secondly, really, it's all about taking action and jumping into something. If you think about it and you research and do all this stuff, you have the potential to slip into analysis by paralysis, and that is a real thing. And it's very difficult to overcome that once you get to that stage. Maybe just like we're going to talk about some ideas in a little bit to kind of maybe get your brain going and start to think about, the fact that pretty much everyone can create some kind of side hustle, or at least, start to figure it out. But it's really about just starting on doing something, no matter what it is. Maybe get your list down to like your top 5. Like maybe I want to jump into this, or I want to take this up as a hobby, because it doesn't need to be something brand new. Maybe you do pottery as a hobby, like our friend Brandon that was on one of our podcasts. Mm-hmm. Maybe he could eventually, I know he does pottery just as a hobby and for fun. But if he got really good at it, if he found a way to sell his pottery, boom, that's a side hustle right there. Like I said, as soon as you turn it into an income generating project, it's a side hustle. So maybe just think about what you're doing already. I could think about the fact that, I've just recently started to play tennis more. Maybe I could start teaching people how to play tennis, or I could create a course online, or write a book, or write a Kindle book about like, beginners' secrets to tennis, or, whatever it is. And that's all like good side hustle potential. I think that answered your question, but really, yeah, you can start wherever you are. It doesn't really matter, how far you are into something. I think start with what you're good at already. Start with what you're into. And then go from there. Think of creative ways. Have a brainstorming session with someone. Me and Miranda always talk about this, but we're always talking about brainstorming sessions of how good they can be. Just get your head out of the box and just think about what you can do with what you're already doing, and then maybe think of some creative ideas. Like, hey, I always wanted to try this. Well, what's stopping you? What's stopping you from traveling more? What's stopping you from doing these certain things? And I think if you really think about it, and what we've realized too, there's not a lot of good excuses when you start to prioritize. And you say, okay, this is something I want to do. Make time for it. Either you got time for it, or it's not a priority.
Yeah, and I am going to say...
Drop the mic.
Yeah. Definitely brainstorm with somebody, with a close friend or family, because...
Or your dog.
There's so many times when there's something totally obvious right in front of you, but you're not even thinking of that option, because it's just you're blinded to it because it's so close to you. And like you said, yeah, you could be really good at tennis and you're not even thinking of that as an asset, and you have this brainstorming session and your friend's like, well, dude, like, you're really good at tennis, why don't you just coach tennis? Like, oh yeah. So definitely as many people as you can to kind of throw ideas at you. It definitely helps, because you really self-evaluating is hard, and judging yourself and seeing what it's sometimes better just to ask other people, like, what are my strengths, what do you think I'm good at? And not to do it in like a vain way or anything, but just to kind of see how other people perceive your strengths. Now we want to go over just a few ideas if you're a little excited about, hey, I could use a little extra income. I mean, everyone can use a little extra money. So we're going to go over just a couple ideas. Yep, and I'm going to link out to in the show notes for this podcast. So just jmring.com/podcast. You can listen to this episode on my site. I'm going to link out to a website called Side Hustle Nation, and that's a website by Nick Loper. Really cool guy, really cool website. You can find all kinds of stuff on side hustles there. We're on that right now. We're just looking for, some different ideas of stuff to talk about with side hustles. But like I said, I'll share that in there, and you can see more ideas on side hustles. You can join their newsletter if you're really interested. I've been on it for a while. It's good stuff. So I definitely recommend that. But yeah, what do you want to start with, Miranda? What's a good like, maybe like a baby step? Maybe we kind of talked about,
the driving. So that's something people kind of think of. So driving for Lyft and Uber.
Yeah, so that's a big one right now. And it's a great, if you like to drive, this for us.
Our friend Chris does this, who was on our podcast recently. He drives for Lyft, I think.
Yes. For us, for Jordan and I, this would be a terrible side hustle because
Oh no, yeah.
we both hate driving. We hate, I mean, we don't like being in our car. We don't like drive
We don't like
thing.
finding places. There's nothing about driving we like.
We're bad at directions. We don't like driving. So for us, that's all weaknesses right there. So even with the GPS, we'd get lost. So for us, that's like, no thanks. That's not a great idea for us. But for other people, you have a nice car, you like cruising around, you can make a good amount of extra money on the side. And it's just a cool thing you can do because you can just pop on and off whenever. So you are in complete control of your schedule, which is really, really awesome.
Yep.
Because if you don't feel like going out, that's fine. You don't have to. If you're like, hey, I want to make a few extra bucks, in the next hour or two, go for it.
Yep.
So it's a really cool side hustle.
Flexibility.
Yeah, it has that flexibility. If you do like driving, if you like meeting new people and that sort of thing, that's great. Definitely check it out and get started.
I was just thinking maybe we should also say, just add a little caveat that a side hustle is not like a part-time job. That's not how it is. Because you want something that's flexible, that's building towards your future, that's not just trading hours for dollars. So I'll add that in there real quick because I don't think we said that in our definition. That's important because it's not just going out and getting another job, because what is that really doing you? I mean, it's doing you get money, you gain some skills, but as far as side hustles go, it's not. It's not moving the side hustle needle. How about that?
It's having that control over your schedule and what you want to do. I think is a huge part of it. You have control over it. It's not.
And it's something you enjoy.
It's not like your 9 to 5 where you have to be there at a certain time.
Yes.
You have to clock in, or you have to listen, to your boss yell at you all day. This is, something you enjoy. It's just something that you have control over, which really just that in and of itself makes it that much more enjoyable because you are in control of it. And if you don't feel like working on it that day, that's fine. Another days you're going to feel super motivated and you can work on it for, 10 hours if you want to.
Yep.
And that's great.
Yep. The next one I want to talk about is affiliate marketing, and that's a fun one. Affiliate marketing, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. One simple way, and it's the way that I do it, is you make a website, you build content on that website, you get people to go to your website, they see certain links, maybe certain links to Amazon. Amazon affiliate marketing is probably one of the biggest affiliate marketing programs out there that you can join. You are sending people to Amazon from your site, and then you get a portion of what they buy from Amazon when they go there. So that's like a basic intro on affiliate marketing. And it's a great way to, once you get a website, you can start putting affiliate marketing or Amazon affiliates on there. You can reach out to other, maybe you want to be an affiliate marketer we'll go back to yoga, for like maybe a local yoga place. So you're going to write some local blogs about yoga, and you send those people to the local yoga place and they sign up and you get a portion of the sales. That's affiliate marketing. You're doing marketing for other people as affiliates, and you're getting a portion of the sales that they make. And it's cool because you don't have to have any products. You don't have to do any of that work yourself. You're just marketing for someone else and getting a portion of what they're selling. So it's pretty cool. And I actually like affiliate marketing a lot. So that's just that one right there.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about that one, definitely reach out. That was a very simplistic overview of affiliate marketing. But
it's fun. It takes a lot of time.
Yes.
For affiliate marketing to become profitable. But it's definitely worth it if you can stick with it. And if you like that computer stuff, that's a great one for you.
Once you get your first sale, you're like, ooh, I just made some money. Passive income on the side.
So the one I want to talk about next is Udemy, which is
Udemy.
Udemy,
it's a funny word.
Udemy. And it's a website. You go on there and you can go and take different courses. So what I have done, I made a course on...
We'll link out to your course and my course for an example in the show notes as well. So you don't have to buy them. You can if you want. But you can go and see just what we did, if you're interested. So I'll link to those in the show notes. Again, jmring.com/podcast.
Yeah, so I made a course called Downsize, Organize, and Thrive, since I love organizing and I'm really passionate about...
You do?
You know, everything's... I like to reorganize, I should say. I like to move things all the time.
Okay, so I get a smile on my face when I talk about affiliate marketing. Miranda gets a huge grin whenever she talks about organizing.
Yeah, so it's definitely... And I'm also really into just how we put too much value on stuff and how we kind of have to work to not, have stuff become idols. So that's what my course is about. So I did just a bunch of videos, and then you can put it up on Udemy. The thing about Udemy is they kind of control the pricing more, so you never really know. If someone buys your course, you never really know what you're going to get each time.
It's a downside for sure.
Yeah, I've gotten bunch of random different prices from people buying it.
It's been different every time.
Yeah. So that's the one thing about Udemy where you don't really have control over what they're selling it for because there is a middleman. But
it's a marketplace and they do some of the marketing work for you.
Yes, which is really nice. And Jordan has a course on there about book marketing online and self-publishing. So it's just a cool thing because then you make this course, you put it out there, and then you're not doing any work, but you're getting money for it afterwards. And that's the whole passive income idea, which is, it's very gratifying when you're like, oh, I did that work months ago, and and I just made $50. That's great.
Yep, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
One we can jump to next that me and Miranda have never done, but I know we've had some friends that have talked about it. You've probably heard of Airbnb. There are other places like it. Basically, it's kind of, it's a website that rents out a room in your home. If you have an extra room in a home, or you have a garage that people can stay in, like a nice garage.
Yeah.
Or you have an extra, you have a house that you go visit, you have a beach house or whatever. You can rent it out on Airbnb, and then they get a portion of the cost, but they take care of a lot of the business end of it for you. So that's something, if you have that resource, you can utilize. And again, that's about that's why brainstorming is so helpful. Okay, what are all my resources? Okay, what are all my skills? Kind of getting everything out there. Like, how can I utilize what I have? Now, if you have a one-bedroom apartment like Miranda and I do, we're not going to be able to use an Airbnb, most likely. Probably against the lease. Probably. Maybe if we were away for a couple months, maybe we could do something with it. Not sure. But it's just, brainstorming and thinking about what your assets are.
Yes. Another one is online surveys. So if you love watching TV or surfing YouTube all day and you're like, I am not going to get off my butt and do anything, this is a good side hustle for you because this is something you can do multitasking. It's not a great way to make a lot of money, but if you're online anyway and you're going to be on there for a while, you really got to love surveys. Yeah, you can take a whole bunch of online surveys. You probably take 100 surveys and you get a $5 gift card to Starbucks or something. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of time you have to put in. Swagbucks is one of the ones that you could... Yeah. People may have heard about that one. I've heard about that one before. Yeah, so it is something that you're not going to get rich off of this, and it's definitely not passive income. It's, it's very much trading time for, instead of hours for dollars, it's like hours for... Yep. For pennies. Yep. But it's something, if you like surveys, why not do it and get some gift cards or, some coupons, whatever. I think they have different rewards depending on what you use. It's definitely something, something for you. If you're going to be on the computer anyway, watching TV anyway, why not? And I think if you find the right ones, you can make it a profitable venture. I did a survey the other day that didn't take me that long, and I just got emailed about it, and I got a $10 Starbucks card. That's cool. I love going to Starbucks. Miranda's looking at me like, what? But... Yeah, I got a Starbucks card for it. Yeah, it's just if it's 100 questions and it takes you 3 hours and you get a $5 Amazon card, I know it's Amazon, guys, but it might just not be worth it. Another idea for a side hustle to think about are on-demand errand running services. You can call them that. You can call them TaskRabbit.
We actually ordered from Bad Daddy's burger place yesterday, and it was delivered to us. I think we did Delivery Dash, or it was something that does deliveries for them, and I'm not very familiar with that service, but I'm guessing, and it seemed to be what it was just another on-demand delivery service. So the restaurant did not deliver our meal. It was done by a task person who went there, ordered our meal. They either ordered the meal or the website I put it through ordered the meal for them. But they were basically picking up our meal and bringing it to us. So it's just another way for if a place doesn't have delivery, it doesn't matter, because this service can send a person to go get your meal for you and bring it to your house. So interesting how many different things that are out there that if you really enjoy doing that, you can maybe add it into your schedule. Maybe you did that for a couple hours. Now that seems like more of like on the part-time job kind of line. I don't know if you necessarily consider that like a side hustle, because it's one of those like
you might be able to choose what time. Like you might be able to say like, "Hey, I'm ready to go. I can do this."
That's true. I think
to Lyft.
I think you're right. You can't do that. Good point, Miranda.
And the last one I want to talk about is Amazon merch. So this is something that I've been trying to get into. I've just recently started my side hustles. And this is a really cool thing where you design t-shirts for Amazon. So you just you have to go through an approval process, which Jordan helped me out with a lot. He did all of that, which I think it helped us that Jordan already had the Amazon affiliates and all of that going on. But so I just designed the shirts and I loaded
we got
them
approved
up.
within a week.
Yeah,
right?
It was quick.
It was kind of insane. Other people are saying it takes months, but go ahead.
So now those
lucky.
t-shirts are up there and people can go and buy them, and then I get a part of the profit for that.
And I'll share a link to your site, which has some of your t-shirts on there. So if you're curious about that, you can check those out too.
Yeah, and I really love it so far, but so far it still is technically a hobby because I have not sold any yet.
Yeah. But that's okay.
I just started, so hopefully we'll get some sales, but it's like anything. You have to build it out. And sometimes unfortunately things are going to start as a hobby and then they're going to stay as a hobby. You can't win them all. But I think you have to think about the super important factor that Miranda's gaining some skills by doing this t-shirt thing. She's becoming more knowledgeable about the online space and how to design and how to work around all this. So if this doesn't work, she could jump to the next thing and have more skills that are related to this like passive income kind of side hustle stuff. So it's all good. It all connects.
It's all good either way.
Learning's always good. So that's definitely, we just want to encourage you to go ahead and try out a side hustle. Have any questions? Just ask us. We've tried a lot of different side hustles, so we're kind of experts. We should coach on side hustling. We should just how to start and fail at side. No, those but yeah, who can't do coach. Yep. I don't know, but yeah, just let us know if you have any questions on that, on side hustles in general. We are passionate about them, just because we don't believe in the full time. We don't believe in the standard job situation where you're just going to work at the same job for years and years, because there's no security in that. Now, there definitely used to be with pensions and all of that stuff, but there's no security anymore. A job can lay you off pretty much whenever, for the most part. There are some places out there that you might be a little bit more secure in, but I really do think that the more skills and the more side things you get, and the more you get better at, especially the online stratosphere, the more marketable you're going to make yourself, whether you are trying to go for a full-time job, whether you're trying to start a side hustle, whether you're trying to work on pretty much any project. The more you got going on, the better you're going to do. So, yeah, there's that. You want to lead us out, Miranda? Yeah, there's a guy outside that's struggling with a leaf blower. It was pretty funny. Oh, so I was wondering what she was looking at, guys. All right, anyway. It was really funny. I wish we could share that with everyone. But hey, everybody, thank you for listening, and stay toasty. Stay toasty, friends. Have a good one.